Okay, so welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the part 4 of the video series. So in the last video, we worked on setting up our database and connecting to our MongoDB database. In this video, we're going to build on top of that by creating queries to perform the CRUD operations in our application. So just for you to understand what I mean, I'm going to switch over to the completed application. So this is the completed application, and essentially what we're trying to do today is we're trying to create all these functionalities that allows us to create a task like this. Watch this, and then to create a task like this and then push it to our database. One, allow us to read all the single all the tags that we have in our database like this. That's two. And then the functionality that allows us to edit our app, that will get a single app that will like when I click on this edit button, that will show that particular single app, which is the third thing I'm trying to do, and then I'll allow us to edit, make changes to a particular task like this. So I'll click on edit. Okay, and the final functionality allows to delete and a particular task. So what we're trying to achieve in this video. So let's get started. And in order for us to do that, we're going to be working with something known as queries in Mongoose. So we're just over to Mongoose docs here. We have some static helper functions that allows us to perform all the operations that I just mentioned. And we're going to be working with many of these, like 5 or 4 of these functions. We're going to work with model.find definitely. And as we're writing the code, I'm going to be explaining everything we're doing. So let's get started. I'm going to hop over to Visual Studio Code. Okay, and then controllers. I'm going to work into controllers. And remember, in the last video, I I wrote this particular function, and I said I want to explain what it does in this video. So this video, I'm going to cover all of that. So let's get started. Let me take this away for now. So the first one I'm going to be creating is one of create task, because we need to, before we can see our tags, because we can because we can edit the task, we can edit the task, we actually need to have tags already in our database. Okay, so we're going to be working on the create task function um, first, and in order to do that, we're going to be using a function known as model.create to create a function. Let me check what that is. Don't think it's is a mod is coming. Should be internet connection. I'm coming. Okay, I think it's all good. I want to show you the create function here. I'm coming, give me a sec. Essentially, this is what I was looking for, constructing documents. Okay, so in order to create a document to create a task, in our case, we're going to be using this create function. And as you notice, it has this out keyword used. So the thing is, to actually create a document in our database, in our collection, there are a number of ways to go about it. we can use this method, and we can also use the um, callback method. Okay, and because and for the sake of this video, I'm not going to be using the callback method. I'm going to be using async await. Okay, just to make our life a bit easier. So let's get started. And because I'm going to be using await function, I will need to make this function an asynchronous function. So then I'm going to just come and say await, then model, then the model is task. So we're going to be model dot create. Okay. Now, what are we creating? Very simple. And what I'm essentially going to pass in this create is going to be actually normal. You can add code a task inside this. You can say name is equals to uh, task one and then completed first. You can add code it, but it don't actually make sense. Okay, it doesn't make sense. So what I'm going to be passing inside is going to be it's going to be the request that the user is going to be passing inside rec.body. Okay, so I'm just going to come here and say rec.body. Okay, and I'm going to show you what I'm using in a sec. So and because I want to see these outputs, I want to like see the tags being created. I'm going to assign it into my variable and set tag, and then say res dot status, which is going to be 200 201, which means accepted, and then dot json. I'm going to be sending it back as json. Then I'll say task. Okay, so let me run the server and show you. So in order to test my IP, I'm going to be using Thunder client as always. And then I already have the collection here, so okay. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to pass in these um this set of values here. I'm going to pass into the record body. So um this is the record body. So anything I pass in here, the model, I mean Mongoose is going to create a document for these item here. So let me just say task one of okay, let me just say testing, and then I set the computer to false. Yeah, that's it. So that means already been created in our database, so that's why I'm able to see it. And you can see the startup code is 200, 201, 201. So that's how it looks there. But with this our current setup, we have some problems because with this setup, I can send empty task and it just be created. Okay, and that does not really make sense. Okay, and the way for us to like tackle this, I can also send space and it's going to be created. The way for us to tackle this is by coming back into our schema, and then we're going to set name as an object. So we're going to be something like this. We're going to say type is still string. Okay, but now we're going to add some we're going to add a few things, a few more things. We're going to say it is required. Okay, we're going to say required true. Okay, and we can also set this required as an array, whereby we set equals to true, and then we give it a message such that if the user does not pass in any uh any value, it's going to output this message. I'm really going to say name is required for the task. Okay, yeah, for the task. And another thing I would like to add here is I would like to set a maximum length. So I'm just going to say max length equals 20. And same as required, I can also set this one as an array such that if the user exceeds these 20 characters, it's going to say name cannot exceed 20 characters. Okay, and I'm coming before let me show you something. And another thing is the user can actually see something like task one and then put space around it, and this will be accepted. So as you can see, it's still accepted. So what I want to do, I want to trim all the spaces such that if the user puts any space around the particular value, it's going to just like eliminate those spaces. So in order to do that, I'm going to say comma, I'm going to say trim equals to true. Now that's all. So if I come back here and try to make them the same, you're going to see all these spaces are going to be eliminated. So let me just say testing trim. So the spaces are eliminated. Also, it's going to flag an error if I try to send in an empty text. Okay, it's even closed. Okay, shouldn't. Okay. I think I know the problem. It should not bring this error, and it's bringing that error because it should bring a different type of error. But it's bringing that error because we didn't undo our error inside our function. So this time I'm going to set this up in try catch block. So and we just res dot status 500, and status 500 is it means server error. Okay, server error. So that's server error. So JSON. Then I'll send back a message. I'll send back the error. So back come back here. Space. Um, the server again. Okay. Now we're up. Okay, no. Something's happening. Okay, status. That's syntax right. Need to be status. So, okay. Let's run it again. Aha! This is the error that we're going to get. Okay. So you can see here, name is required for the text. And also you can test out the maximum length stuff. So the text max length. So, and you can then just add mumbo jumbo, and then just test all it out. So it says name cannot exceed 20 characters. So our create function is working very much okay. And another thing I want to adjust here is this completed. Because let me go back to the main app. In this main app, you're going to notice that if I create any tax, let's see, okay, let me say just something. You're going to see by default, it's not showing the by default it's not showing the completed. It's not showing the check mark, the completed check mark. So which means by default the task is not completed, which means completed is set to false. Okay, so and I would like to do this in my account application. So enough for me to do that, I'm just going to come here and say, so what essentially I'm trying to say is that even if the user does not pass in any completed, if the user don't know this is completed, just passing the name, the completed should still be set to false. That's what I'm trying to say essentially. If I just right now, I should possibly get an error. Okay, okay, it was created, but then the completed is not there. So if I come here and if I come here and say type, type is still boolean, but instead I want the default to be false. Okay, if I come back here now and say test for falsity, if there's anything like that, it should work. Aha, you see, I didn't pass in any value for completed, yet it's saying completed is false. So which is what I want. And you notice this ID is already being automatically generated by MongoDB. Okay, so every document, in our case, every task that has been created, we assign an ID automatically, as well as this underscore VV, underscore V. So I guess this one means the version. That's what I think it means. So let's close this one up and let's work on our other functions. And the next function I'm going to be working on is going to be the get all tags function. Okay, let me remove this. And don't forget, okay, I already have this one set up as async. I think I added them by mistake. So don't forget to add this async because I'm going to be using await. And also don't forget to set up try catch. Okay. And before I write our main code, let me handle the error so don't forget. It's going to be the same thing, so just copy and paste to save time. So now I want to come back here and then come to queries. Now for the get all tags, we're going to be using a different function here. And the function we're going to be using essentially is going to be this model.find. Let me open up a new tab. Okay. Okay, so what method dot find model dot find supposed to do? Help us find document. Okay. Essentially, and also it takes in an object, okay, or it takes in an object, and then it matches whatever you're passing into the function with the current document, and then try to filter out those documents. But if you don't pass in anything, if you leave it empty as this, like this, it's going to get you all the documents in that collection of database. Okay, so that means for get all tags, we're going to be using this particular function here, where we're not going to pass anything to this find um, method or function. Okay, I'm just going to pass in an empty object. Is what I mean. So, like before me to say const task equals to wait, and then our model, which is task dot find, and that'll be all. I'll just say pump, and then I want to see everything. So I'm going to come here. So where is that status 200, which means everything worked out fine. Then status 200, and then JSON. Send back everything as JSON. Okay, so if I come back here, change this one to get, remove this. Okay, and then send. I should be clear about all my tags. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 tags in my collection already. So all these tags I've created to test out for our crits, for our creators functionality that are there. So that works perfectly well. The next one to work on now is this get a single tags function, and it's going to be similar to this get all tags function. I'll just with little differences. So I'm just going to copy and paste this, okay, just to save time. And then I'll make some changes there. Okay. So before I said find, we like pass we take in an object and then helps you to like match whatever you pass in with it with all the documents in the collection and then filter out those documents. So in order for us to get a single tax in this functional application, we're going to be passing, instead of passing an empty object, we're going to be passing in okay, I'm sorry. We are not going to be using find. I'm sorry about that. We're going to be using a different function known as find one, which is this one. I'm going to be using find one because I try to filter out just a single what's the name now? A single document, okay, or in our case tax. So how this is going to work is that we're going to pass in documents like this. As you can see in it says friend one adventure whose country is Croatia, otherwise not. So we're going to say model.find one, and then we're going to say if the country is Croatia, bring it out. That's actually what we're going to do. And in our case, we're going to be saying, if I come back here, we're going to be saying if the ID, the ID matches the ID being passed um into the parameters, into the query parameters, then bring it out. Essentially, this is what I'm going to say. So that would find one, okay, and then I'll say rec dot parameters, params dot id. Then I'll remove this one because rec dot params is already an object. So I'm basically getting out. So I'm basically saying, sorry, okay, now I'm basically saying find a document whose ID is equals to the ID being passed into the rec.params. That I'm trying to see now. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So essentially, the user, when we're trying to when we're trying to get a single task, we're going to be passing in a parameter inside our URL. Okay, and then we're not telling Mongoose that we should find a document whose ID, this ID matches what is being passed in. Okay, okay. So we're trying to tell Mongoose, and one will tell Mongoose this. Two things are likely to occur. It is either Mongoose finds that particular ID and then brings it out, or it doesn't find the ID. Okay, so if it finds the ID, like we are saying, you should just say response to status 200, status response 200, and then she'll give us back the task. But now we need to also say that if it doesn't find the task, you should do something. So that's why I'm going to come down and say if there is no task, okay, if the task does not exist, okay, like if the ID being passed does not match any task in the document in the collection, okay, I want to say return, okay, res dot status. Now I'm going to be using a different status code, which is going to be 404. Now I'm saying that's a bad request, okay. Status 404 means bad request that all the user string book for does not exist, okay. Then I'll say dot json. I'll say passing to user message. I'll just say no um no matching ID, something, no matching ID. Let me just leave it at that. And then I begin to wonder what's the reason between this error and then this error. I'm going to come to that in a sec. But now let's test out our function. So I'm going to come here and grab an ID. Let me grab this one that we created last in the last video. Let me grab this video and then put it here. Boom. This is it right here. It finds it. But now let's say I change some values in the ID. Let's say I keep instead of 12, we have 98 and it doesn't exist. It's going to flag an error. No matching ID. Now that's our first error working. Now this second error, this status overload is working in case whereby the number of characters in the ID not passed. Okay, fair. I don't want this reason. Before I get there, what this error is trying to do is that if the number of characters that is meant to be in ID is correct, let's say the number of characters in ID is 12, and then the user actually inputs the 12 characters, but then the ID does not match any document, it's going to flag this error. But instead, if it is correct, like in this case, if it is correct, but then I mean, if the number of characters in ID is less than or greater than the number of characters required in the ID, that is when this error will occur. Let me show you what I mean. Now I know this ID character length is correct, but if I try to remove this two, it's going to flag that error. See different error. Still 500, so whatever. You also try to, this is correct, this is the maximum length, this is correct length. So I try to add to it, like say, yeah, it's going to flag the same error. So I hope that makes sense. So this video is really getting long, and this is 24 minutes. In the next video, we'll work on the main two functions, update tags and also delete tags.